Today, the House Oversight Committee voted to subpoena Attorney General Pam Bondi over the investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Lawmakers on both sides were frustrated over how Bondi has handled the release of the Epstein files. More than 3 million pages have been released. Lawmakers are upset that millions of documents still have not been disclosed, claiming video, audio, and other records are being withheld by the Justice Department. For more now, we're joined by Oklahoma Republican Senator James Lankford. Senator, as always, we thank you so much for your time. You've said that the key question over whether this use of force was authorized was over what constitutes an imminent threat. There have been conflicting explanations from administration officials over that. To the best of your knowledge, do you believe that Iran posed an imminent threat to the United States?
I do, actually. So they've had over 180 attacks on American or American citizens or American locations just since 2023. They've obviously funded the Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah. We have about 750,000 Americans that live in that region, that live in Jordan, that live in the UAE, or live in Saudi Arabia or Israel or Egypt or Turkey. There's a lot of Americans that are in harm's way. And there seems to be this perception among some that if there's an intercontinental ballistic missile that can reach Kansas, that it's not a threat. Well, that's not true, with so many Americans actually live and work in that area. So there's an ongoing threat that has continued from Iran, and they've obviously focused on trying to get their nuclear weapons program up and going, getting their ballistic missiles program and their conventional program to a level that they couldn't be attacked. So this was an accelerating threat the president had to make some hard decisions on.
You just mentioned the many Americans who live in the region, and the administration had been moving assets into the area for weeks. But now, as you know, tens of thousands of Americans are stranded in the region. Right. Anything that the State Department should have done better to prevent Americans from being stuck?
Oh, no, the State Department was very clear for weeks, and moving people out of embassies, moving people out of military facilities, making it very clear what the threats were. You can go to state.gov, and we've encouraged people to be able to do this that are in the area to notify the State Department where they are. That allows State Department to say if we need to evacuate in certain areas, they can get aircraft and they can actually contact people. So they had that stood up immediately to be able to help people start moving out and to be able to form a plan. But it's not that this was a great surprise to anyone. This has been building for a while.
Tim Kaine and Rand Paul's War Powers resolution was voted on today. Republicans other than Rand Paul voted it down. Why did you personally vote against it?
I voted against it, number one, because we have military in the field right now, and Iran is attacking about 10 or 11 other nations currently in that area as well. And to be able to say to our troops, we don't support you and the ongoing work you're doing to be able to protect Americans and to protect our allies, I think undercuts the work that's happening there.
The president sent a War Powers resolution notification to Congress on Monday night. If there's no authorization from Congress within a 60 to 90-day period, the default is the withdrawal of American forces. Would you support an authorization for the use of military force?
Yeah, we've got to get through the next couple of weeks here to be able to determine. The president's been very, very focused on this to be able to try to get as much done as we can in a very short period of time. No one wants to see a forever war. No one's looking for a long-term war in the Middle East again. We've seen that movie before and don't want to do that again. But I think we've got to be able to get through this first couple of weeks. We've literally been only a few days of this operation at this point. I'm not willing to be able to undercut the mission at this point. We need to be able to complete it. This is a brutal regime that has attacked Americans for 47 years, over and over and over again, whether it's Marines in their barracks, whether it's ambassadors, whether it's trying to assassinate U.S. presidents, whether it's launching into civilians in countries all over the region, or being able to attack Americans even on American soil.
Obviously, no one knows the time frame here, but do you believe that this operation will be over within 90 days?
I think it can. Obviously, with any military operation, you can't plan the whole thing out to the precise day. It's a military operation. Many things are unpredictable, but so far it is moving ahead of schedule.
What do you see as Congress's role in this war?
Continued oversight, engagement with the administration, as we've already done multiple times. We'll have to discuss funding. The ultimate way to be able to determine whether you support or don't support any battle that's actually going on is whether Congress will actually fund it. That is the first task of any Congress, is actually the funding mechanism on it. The administration's already said they're going to need supplemental funding at some point through this battle to be able to continue that. And so that will come up, and we'll have the opportunity to be able to weigh in during that time period as well.
Senator James Lankford, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
You bet.